Hello, everybody. My name is Lawrence Hurst, and I'm a senior computer science and mathematics major at Berea College. And this fall semester, I was fortunate enough to receive CS funding, which allowed me to attend the AfroTech 2024 conference in Houston, Texas. This conference was hugely important for my career development. One, because it got me in a space that was completely filled with tech companies, a lot of which I'd heard of, some of which I hadn't heard of. And it introduced me into a bunch of new fields for computer science, like data science, and of course, software development I'm familiar with, but also some game development aspects, which were being used in fields like police training with VR demos. Um, and like before this, I had always thought software development was all computer science was about, right? But after attending this conference, I got to see so many different companies, so many different atmospheres, so many different cultures that it really gave me a more broad perspective on the jobs I'm looking for when I graduate. So one of the coolest parts about going to this convention was that I got to talk to these employers and recruiters face to face. So I got to talk to them about my projects, I got to show them my resume, and I got to see live how aspects of my past impressed them or didn't impress them. So I've been working for about 2 years now as a student software developer on campus, and I have a few personal projects, and I got to see what worked for each company and what didn't. And me, prior to going to this conference, had applied for 100 software development jobs. I got a couple online assessments, which I did well, but I never heard back from them because they filled the positions. Um, and after going to this conference, I maybe found out why, right? Because I got to see um, firsthand what was impressive to the kinds of people I wanted to work for. So, like the most important like technical things I learned from this was that resume building is really important and that projects are considerably effective. I went to the Red Hat booth, and they actually pulled up my GitHub page and looked at my recent commits, and they looked at the code structure of my one of my projects, which was really wild because I never thought anybody would ever look at that. Um, but technically, it was really incredible to see how much what I do outside of classes matters to an employer. And furthermore, it opened my eyes to the number of technologies out there. I had saw a couple of companies working on really cool VR projects that I was really interested in. But me, um, working as a software developer for the college, I've been using this specific set of tools that had really nothing to do with VR development. And after being around that, seeing the projects I wanted to work on and realizing I don't have the skills to work on them yet, it makes me realize that I need to really focus and study the things I want to do with my life, which is really cool. Non-technically too, um, getting your elevator pitch together is super, super important. Being charismatic with an employer, being ready for an interview at any moment, and also learning the questions to ask a recruiter. Like, are you doing any on-site interviews? What kind of candidates are you looking for? If you were to hire me today, where would you place me in the company? To best utilize my skill set. Those kind of questions make you a much stronger hire, and a much more desirable software developer, oddly enough. I'm incredibly grateful for being funded. Um, the return on investment for going to these conferences is huge, right? Job success and, salaries are, of course, but, your whole compensation package is negotiated by bonuses, but your salary is typically negotiated in terms of like thousands of dollars. And so if I can start my career by paying $1,000 to go to a conference and landing a job that gets me, thousands of dollars, and then I can be competitive in that market, that is a huge return on investment. But as a Berea College student, dropping $1,000 on a conference is, not feasible for me without, you know, relying on these funds like the computer science department, allowing me to do these amazing experiences, um, without the financial burden so much, and it makes it possible. So I'm really, really grateful for that. Um, as I mentioned previously, I got a lot out of the conference. Um, I got to talk to so many companies. I got a lot of merch, which is just kind of fun. Um, but mostly, I woke up at um, 4 in the morning every day of the conference to get there early and line up by 6 when it opened at 9, and then we were the first ones. And out of that, I got one interview, a behavioral with Vanguard, which was amazing. And then I got I think 5 technical assessments online. And I'm interviewing with 2 companies, Vanguard for their final interview, and another one, Epic Systems, next week. And I got all that from the conference. Having applied to so many jobs just nonstop working on technical skills before, um, I think going to a conference is just by far the most efficient way to secure your chance at getting a job at a company. Um, and without the CS funding, I don't know that I ever would have achieved that. So, before this, I think I really underestimated the value of conference visits. I've learned that these conferences are all about right place, right time. Like the interview I got was just happenstance. Like the guy was like, "Hey, you want an interview?" And I didn't feel like I was a particularly strong fit um, for their code base. They used some languages I wasn't familiar with, some frameworks like Angular that I hadn't used before. But it was just right place, right time. The guy liked me, so he gave me an interview. And that just doesn't happen when you're applying online. So I realized that from going to this conference, that conferences are a fantastic way to connect with these recruiters, to build your network, as well as to enjoy them, right? Because your life gets so involved in tech, and being around these tech people and these tech companies it feels like home a little bit, right? It's like a convention for your biggest interest. So after having gone to this conference, I realized their value, and I also realized how much I enjoy them if they are a bit tiring at times. I was so exhausted every day. But after experiencing this conference, AfroTech, I am going to pursue a lot more conferences before my college career ends. And I'm so thankful for the CS funding and the CS department for allowing me to do this. Thank you.